Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. An absolutely legendary device in my opinion, because this was the first Galaxy S with a built-in S Pen, and really it was a Galaxy Note rebranded as Galaxy S, and many people even made this joke in the beginning when it came out, calling it a Note and then correcting themselves saying, oh, I'm sorry, actually I mean the Galaxy S22 Ultra. But it's basically what the Galaxy Note became, and this phone was amazing. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people bought it, and this was a big hit. I love mine. I had it for over 2 years now, and I really didn't feel a need to upgrade when the S23 Ultra came out. I think a lot of people had the same kind of reservation. The phone was great. There's nothing wrong with Galaxy S23 Ultra. It's an amazing device, but if you compare it to S22, there wasn't much really that different. So that's how I felt as well, and I kept using it until the S24 Ultra came out. And in the beginning I had a very similar feeling, thinking it's great. I mean, it's even bigger of an upgrade, right? It's even more of an upgrade, but this phone is still so good, there's no need to upgrade it. And I did anyway. So a little bit late though, not right when it came out. Again, when it first came out, I kind of felt like it wasn't really worth it. There's still nothing wrong with my S22 Ultra, and I still love it. But here, a few months later, well, we're about 4 months since the launch of this phone, maybe a little bit over, I finally gave in and I grabbed it. And I made this video to tell you why, a couple of reasons, why it makes sense, why it might not make sense to you if you already have this phone, and most importantly, if you are someone with the S22 Ultra and you're thinking of, or you're asking yourself, is 24 Ultra worth it? Like, should I upgrade? I've been asking myself this question for the past 3 months at least, probably since the launch. At first there were a couple of problems. That was definitely, sorry, not with this guy. First there were a couple of problems with S24 Ultra, something with the camera. I don't recall exactly what the issue was. Definitely an issue with the screen vividness that a lot of people talked about. And that was kind of a good excuse for me to just discount it and say, nah, not interested. I'll wait for the next one. But as far as I know, they worked those kinks out. It's much better now. And I actually had it for a few days now, about a week, I guess. Probably a little bit less than a week. And I've been using it. And yes, I feel like it was a good upgrade for me. Now, will it be worth it to you? That'll be up for you to decide. But I definitely see people still asking those questions on Reddit and on the internet in general. If I have S22 Ultra, should I upgrade to S24 Ultra? Many people say yes, it's an awesome upgrade, but I feel like even more people saying like, no, it's not worth it. There's not much there. Keep using your S22 Ultra, and it's fair. Like, it's a fair point, but it's all relevant. It depends on what is important to you, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this first. Now, this is not a very detailed review. I'm not going to be comparing, camera quality, taking pictures, things like that. I'm not going to be doing a lot of comparisons side by side or anything like that. There are plenty of material like this out there already. For me, there were some smaller things that I was interested in, and I couldn't find very clear answers to those questions. So I figured I'll make this video in case you're in a similar situation with the S22 Ultra, thinking about S24 Ultra, and have some questions. Maybe you'll find some answers here. So first, let's get this phone out here. Now, real quick note, you might have noticed, I just said I've been using this phone for almost a week, and I'm just taking out the box like it's a brand new phone. What gives? And just staging this or what? Not exactly. I actually have 2 of these right now. Another one is right here, is recording this video. The reason I end up with 2, it's a long story, it's silly, I'm not gonna cover all of this, but basically when I decided to order it, this blue titanium was really the best option at the time. For some reason, other colors, like non-exclusive colors, were $100 more expensive. I really wanted a black unit, but I ended up getting this one because of the price difference. And then of course, Samsung being Samsung, 2 days later they lowered the price of the black model, and they even made the deal even more appealing, at least for me. So I was able to get it for about the same price with the set of Buds 2 Pro headphones, and I will be returning this guy. So I don't mind this color at all. It's actually very beautiful. I love it, but I wanted a black one for a different reason. I'll show it off at the end. Can't do it right now. It's recording this video. So the phone now is absolutely amazing. I love it. Just gonna go ahead and let this turn. But while it's loading, I'm gonna quickly talk about the overall look and feel, and maybe material quality of the device. So when you first take it out of the box and put it in your hand, it feels different. If you're used to your S22 Ultra, you know how the rounded sides here very nicely sit in your hand, like it really feels great. This new one, while still slightly rounded, has much more, I guess, flatter sides and a flat screen, and a lot of people are loving it, and I'll comment on this in a minute. And the back is flat too, but when you put it in your hand, yes, it feels a little bit different. Like you can actually feel it back here a little bit more than you would with the S22 Ultra. It's not a bad thing in any way. It still feels okay. In fact, in many situations, I like the better grip that I have with the flatter sides. So that's one main difference. I'll show you side by side so you can see. Let me line them up here. There you go. So it's there. There's a difference. Now if you look at the back, they look very similar. The cameras, while also looking very similar in their layout, are a little bit larger here. As you can see, they're slightly wider. And they also stick out just a little bit more. Let me see if it's the best way to do this. So as you can see, they're almost double a little bit less, but they are thicker. They stick out more. This part, I don't mind it. I mean, it looks very premium, but I just feel like I wish they would work on reducing the size of your camera bump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bumps in this case. I wish they would just try to move it inside the body, so to give you like this flat back. And I'm sure in a few years they will, but for now they're gonna go in the opposite direction. Seems like with every new phone generation, the cameras keep getting larger and sticking out more out of your device. It's okay, but of course, you know, it can affect some accessories, it can affect some cases, and just overall, you know, thickness of your phone. If you have a case that is designed to cover your cameras and give them somewhat of a lip for additional protection, you're just gonna end up with a thicker case. So something to keep in mind. Okay, buttons, slight difference, kind of interesting. They made them a little bit wider, but I think I would say flatter, just slightly. You don't really feel it much when you use it. They both click perfectly fine, although I will admit with the S22 Ultra, when I just kind of grab in my hand, I feel the button much easier with my finger. So with my thumb I slide it up, there it is, click. With this guy, I noticed sometimes like it's just doesn't like stick out as much, so you still feel it, but not as instantly as you did with the previous ones there. So material quality, of course, is always excellent. We have Gorilla Glass back, we have new Gorilla Glass armor on the front, which is very cool. Supposed to be extremely scratch resistant. I'm not gonna test this, hopefully it doesn't scratch, but with this guy, after 2 years, it did pick up some scratches. I'm usually pretty careful with my phone, but it got some like little nicks here, right on the curve here. There are some minor, there's some minor scratches on the screen. Yeah, there's one right there. Very hard to see. I can't even really demonstrate properly, but It did pick up some micro scratches, some little bit larger scratches. It hasn't been dropped anything like that, probably just from being in the pocket. I hope this guy does better at that. Now while I'm holding him side by side like this, we might as well take a quick peek at the screen, and you can see the difference just in appearance of it, like how it reflects light. How S24 Ultra looks so much darker versus S22. That's part of this new Gorilla Glass armor. It has some kind of reflection reduction etching or coating. I'm not sure exactly, but yes, it helps. It reduces reflections. Not a whole lot. I feel like this point is widely exaggerated. Now you can see it on the video here. The video is very obviously, like, see the fan up there, or my face right here. Very obviously doesn't reflect as much on the S24 as it does on S22. To be honest though, in real life, when you're not looking at through the camera lens, when you're just looking at phones side by side, to my eye anyway, it doesn't seem like that drastic. It doesn't seem as big of a difference as it appears on the camera and all the videos and all the reviews, and people all freaking out and saying like, oh look how much different it is. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Like right here, yeah, it's not as reflective, quite as reflective, but it's still pretty reflective. It's still a reflective screen, so yeah, don't expect like a matte kind of screen here. You're not gonna get it. But what I like about this even more is this darkness of it, like the fact that, like, it's not just light here. I mean, maybe part of it, because there's a white ceiling, so it reflects more of it here. A little bit hard to tell, okay, I admit. But when you use the phone, say at night, you're playing a game or something, you will notice the black on your screen. Like if you have bars on the sides, maybe playing some older game that doesn't fill the whole screen, you will notice that the black is even darker and blacker than it is on S22 Ultra, and it really just disappears. Not that you would see it on S22 Ultra because it's still an OLED screen or AMOLED, so the black is completely black, those pixels are off. You still won't see them at night, but there's some noticeable difference in just like this black levels on the S24 Ultra. I really like that a lot. So that's a small thing, but to me it improves the experience. Before we go a little bit more into the screen, final thought on just the overall material quality is the frame. So this is a titanium frame now, and it's very nice compared to the aluminum frame that we had with the S22, which is also very nice and premium, but it's a little bit more shiny, I guess, and picks up some smudges and fingerprints easier. But I do love how the screen curves. I always love this feature. Side note, I used Samsung with curved screens since the S6 Edge, and I always loved their curved screens. It's a little bit sad to me to let it go, but it is time, and it is a little bit better, I have to admit. The flat screen is a better experience. Let me mute this computer, get notification. So the titanium frame though looks very nice. It has a little bit of like the shine to it, but it's matte. It doesn't pick up fingerprints as easily or smudges. It even does, it's not showing it as much. And I also like how it just all wraps around as one long piece. It does the same thing here, but because the sides go so narrow, I guess it doesn't give the same sort of effect to me anyway. But here, yeah, overall build quality and look and feel of this device, it feels pretty amazing. Like it's a great phone to hold. Man, I'll tell you, every year, or sometimes skip a year in this example, but every time I get a new Samsung phone, I feel like, yeah, well, they just finally achieved an absolute top, the pinnacle of their design and build quality, and it cannot get any better. And then the next one comes out and they take it out of the box, and I'm just like, yep, they made it even better. Like, I don't know how they still do it, but somehow they still find ways to make it and make it feel even more premium than it was before. Now with this, let's kind of roll into the screen discussion. Actually not going to be talking about screen as much. It's brighter. It's about the same resolution. It's a little bit more pixel dense, I guess. The pixel density is a little bit higher, but you won't really notice it. There was a lot said about the peak brightness of this device. Yeah, it can go brighter, but when you use your phone, again, when I put them side by side about the same brightness level, maybe I should just go ahead and set this up. Here we go. I hope it was much quicker for you than it was for me. So, if we set both of these phones to about the same brightness level, I'm gonna make a couple of changes here in settings just to make them about even. I'm gonna turn adaptive brightness off. I'm gonna make sure nothing is there. I'm gonna change the resolution to the same top resolution, and I'm also gonna change the screen timeout so it doesn't mess with me here for now. All right. Yeah, here we go. So let's bring the brightness to somewhere around the same level, right? Yeah, you don't really feel that this phone is any brighter or better looking than this one. Now, part of this, and this was a big controversy in the beginning, or until recently, really, just maybe a month ago or so, maybe just a little over, the vividness of this screen. People complain a lot when they got it. It just didn't look as bright, well, vivid, as, for lack of a better term, that's really what it is, as the previous one, S23, or the one before it, S24. 1 second. Get to the same area. Okay. So right out the box, I'm not sure how hard or easy it is to tell, but yeah, this one is a bit muted, even on the vivid setting. And another thing that people mention, that changing it to natural or back to vivid makes pretty much no difference. The only difference I can really see is like the white here is getting a little bit wider, a little bit cooler, I guess. But like in colors, I see absolutely no difference. Not in the camera, not to the naked eye. Maybe just very slightly, barely noticeable. So this was a problem. A lot of people speculated that it might be this Gorilla Glass armor. People speculated that it's just how this screen is made and it just can't be fixed, but yeah, Samsung did fix it. In fact, you have to do to advanced settings and turn your vividness up, and when you do it all the way up, then it actually looks about the same. So to my eye, they look virtually identical. So it's not an issue anymore. But as you can probably notice, the part I was mentioning earlier, right here, see you have a little bit more reflection, and it looks a little bit grayer. Then here is just true black, just kind of disappears into the background. So I really like the way that this looks and feels. So I think in this particular scenario right now, especially when you're actually using your phone, when your screen is on, you can really see more of a difference with the reflections on this new screen and reduced reflections. Other than that, the brightness feels about the same. Now that I changed the vividness, they both look great. They both look about the same. It's not much of a difference there. The only other point about the screen here, well, actually 2 points. One is they made the bezels even all the way around, and that's very cool. It's a very minor improvement, but I'm trying to find something that will fill the whole screen with white background. Okay, well, this is good enough. So as you can see, it goes all the way here. You have what, about 2 millimeters of a bezel, and then the same exact thickness here, same exact at the top, and all the way around. Yeah, it feels like this is what they were going for years, reducing their bezels more and more, and finally we got to this point when, yeah, they're just even bezels all the way around, and I gotta say, it feels great and looks great. Also, the corners are less rounded this time around than they were before. A little bit hard to show here, I apologize. With my choice of a wallpaper, maybe this helps. So this was still a little bit more rounded on the S22 versus there's very slight rounded corner there, but as you can see, it's almost like a sharp corner screen. It's okay, I like it. I kind of like rounded corners more lately, but I like this too. I like that it's still just a little bit of a curve there. So that's good enough. To you, my S22 Ultra users, however, you're probably used to your curved screen. For better or for worse, it was curved. I always love this, as I mentioned. It's beautiful design. It feels great in your hand. And when you look at your phone straight like this, you actually make your side bezel look even smaller, even less of a bezel there than even the S24 Ultra. So if you like this, that's going to be a change for you there. Overall, too, it makes your phone, it will make your new phone, if you decide to get it, wider. And it doesn't just look wider, it actually is a little bit wider. Okay. Now, performance, battery life, temperature, stuff like this. I will not spend a whole lot of time here, but I think it's obvious to anyone that the new phone will perform better with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 versus 8 Gen 1 here. If you look at some benchmarks, it's virtually double the performance going from S22 to S24. When are you gonna feel this? If you play games on it. So I actually wanted this phone because I started using my S22 Ultra more for gaming and playing some games like Diablo Immortal. I started to really feel the age of this device. A couple years old, it lags a lot, it stutters, it takes a little bit longer to load. It's not a great experience. It runs much better on the S24 Ultra. There's still some occasional stutter. Diablo Immortal is just not like the perfectly optimized game, plus it's online, so there's network that goes into consideration there, but it is day and night, really. Like, it's so much better here. I don't think I can play it on the S22 Ultra anymore. You really feel it. You really feel that difference in performance. So it will help with gaming for sure. Apps launch a little bit faster, but not always. Like, this one thing is always weird to me. I'm not going to be doing comparison because this phone is not set up. It's fresh out of the box. This one has a bunch of stuff running in the background already. It's not going to be a fair comparison. But you can see some of those speed tests. You will see that S24 is objectively faster. How much faster though? Like, we're talking milliseconds for opening your apps. In day-to-day use, you're not gonna notice any limitations if you stick with your S22 Ultra for a little bit longer. In games, I would say the difference is more noticeable. For me, the types of games I play, I definitely feel that performance bump, and it's worth it to me. So that's one of the big reasons why I decided to upgrade. I started using my phone more as a gaming device. I've been kind of toying around with handheld gaming computers like ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion Go, and all of those were too big, too heavy, too hot, too noisy, and too disappointing. So I decided to try to turn my phone into one. I got this little controller attachment, and I've been using this phone kind of as a handheld most of the time because it's actually not my primary phone. I have my Fold 5 here. It's my daily driver. Okay, I digress. You will notice the difference in performance there in gaming for sure. But if you're asking yourself, am I gonna feel a huge improvement in my day-to-day life with this phone? No, you will not. I'll be absolutely honest with you there. You'll probably still be absolutely fine with the S22 Ultra. So I think I'm gonna start getting a little bit more into back into the question of, is it worth the upgrade? So performance-wise, if you game on your phone, yes. If you don't game, nope. I'm not gonna cover camera here. There are plenty of videos that do a much better job than I could ever hope to do, but it is better. Yeah, it's just a better camera. There's no question there. It was a little bit better on S23 Ultra, although it could be debated. Some people argue about this. There are some changes that not everyone's a fan of. It is even a little bit more better on S24 Ultra. Your pictures will look a little bit sharper. Overall, again, unless you put them side by side, you'll probably never notice the difference, but that's, the camera is a big selling point for manufacturers these days. That's why they keep messing with it, okay? They probably don't need to, but if they don't, they're gonna get behind. They're gonna fall behind the competition. Battery life, this is another big thing for me. Yeah, battery life is definitely better here. I don't have any proof or any data to back this up, but you can see plenty of tests over there showing that this phone can last hours longer than the S22 Ultra. Again, it wouldn't be fair for me to try to compare. This phone is over 2 years old. This one is brand new, so obviously there's some battery degradation there. It just wouldn't be a fair comparison. But in my day-to-day use, yeah, it's just the battery holds up better here. Just doesn't, your percentage digits don't go down as fast as they do on the S22 Ultra. So it's a big thing for me. Another one, again, playing games on your phone. If you hold your phone, your fingers touch the back of it, and usually your index finger kind of ends up right in this area over here. Well, this is where the main board is located, I believe, because this part gets the hottest. And so you will feel this with your fingers sometimes, and with some applications, maybe some heavier games, it can get pretty warm, it can get uncomfortable. If you have a case, if you have a nice thick case like this, probably won't be an issue. Or if you use a gaming controller attachment, it won't be an issue. But if not, this might be important too, I guess. So does this phone get hot at all? Does it get hotter than S22 or not as hot? And what is the deal there? Yeah, it gets hot. Okay, they all do under load. They have to get that heat out somehow, and the way these phones are designed, obviously the cooling is passive. There are no fans or anything like that. They just transfer it straight through the back of the phone and out, like where your hands are, So what I notice here, under heavy load, the S24 Ultra gets hotter. It can get much hotter than the S22 Ultra. However, it's very rare for it to actually get into that situation when it runs at its full speed, at the 100% load with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy. It can run the same exact game, like Diablo Immortal, that you will run on the S22 Ultra with nearly 100% CPU and GPU use, more GPU use than CPU. It can run the same exact game here with 45 to 50% GPU use. So with that in mind, while it can get hotter at full load, it's so much more powerful. It doesn't need to run at 100% to run the same tasks. So you actually won't feel it getting as warm as often. Yeah, and another use case, I just used this S22 Ultra for maybe 5 minutes to record a 4K video of me using S24 Ultra in a different setting, and this phone is hot almost all the way around, while when I spend almost 30 minutes, over 30 minutes in fact, recording a 4K video 30 frames per second with the S24 Ultra, which again is recording right now, it wasn't. Maybe it was barely warm to the touch. So again, it just handles some of those tasks. They're so much easier for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 to handle. It just doesn't produce as much heat in those scenarios. If it does get hot, it's going to get hotter, but it does not get hot as often. So it's kind of a compromise there. I think overall, a better thing for the S24 Ultra. I think it's a better experience with its thermal design, with this improved thermal design. So I like it. It's good. So, is there anything else that kind of stands out software-wise? We're looking at pretty much the same thing. I think there are a couple of AI features that are available on S24. They're still unavailable on S22 Ultra, even with the One UI 6.1. You just don't get them. Fair enough. That's whatever. The only other thing, I guess, the S Pen, I noticed a little bit kind of scratchier, like a grub. It's not as easy to pull it out or slide it back in. It's okay, but on S22 Ultra it was just What am I doing? What am I doing here? It's just much smoother the way it goes in and out. Okay. That's a very minor nitpick there. If you are a happy owner of S22 Ultra, you need to upgrade. I would say it's completely up to you. As always, it's a non-answer answer. If you're happy with your phone, if it does everything you need to, you don't need to upgrade, man. Like, seriously, you're not gonna feel anything different here. Like, you're gonna see the small improvements, but in your day-to-day use, after like the first week of like new phone excitement, you're gonna forget all about it, and it's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna feel like you're still using the same great Galaxy Galaxy S20 something Ultra phone. Okay. However, if you're starting to feel the S22 Ultra's age, kind of like I did with some games or maybe some other applications that you use, you start to feel some limitations in its performance, then it's probably as good of a time as any to upgrade. The S24 Ultra is an amazing device. I have absolutely no complaints about it. The build quality is perfect. It feels great. The performance is amazing. The battery life is great. The cameras are good. There's nothing to complain here. You will be happy. So if you have any feelings that your phone is starting to feel old, go ahead and upgrade it. Do a trade-in. Though Samsung will give you $600 for this phone in US. I don't know about other countries, sorry guys. But in the United States, they'll give you $600 for this. If you are a student or a teacher or a parent of a student, you can get some educational discount. There's some other discounts. If you can, like first responders and government employees, if you cannot get any of those discounts, sign up for Samsung Money. Just set up that free account. You might have to put a few bucks into it, but whatever. You will get Samsung Money discount. It's almost as good as the partners discount that Samsung does. It's a little bit less, but it'll still knock another like couple $100 off the price of this phone, so it's significant. And you can get this for, I don't know, $560 to $600 if you trade in your S22 Ultra. I think for this price, it's a good upgrade, but only if you need it. If you have any other questions, anything specific you want me to tell you about the differences between the S22 Ultra and S24 Ultra, ask in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to reply as soon as I see them. So with that said, thanks for your time. I'll see you later.